questions in the forum. It's a good possibility that we'll probably get about 5 per candidate up here tonight and get that done. So we'll do our best to get through it. If anybody has anything they need to add, you're more than welcome to let us know. The schedule for this evening is short remarks from our Board of Supervisor members. Then we're going to take a short break and set the stage up for the school board forum. We'll reconvene. It'll be a 2-minute introduction of each candidate. It'll be a 60-minute question and answer session. We'll have timers, like they said. Stuart will be doing our timing. He will let them know when we get down to the 30 seconds and the 5 seconds. So they'll speak for 2 minutes. The rebuttal will be another 30 seconds, and he'll do the timing on that as well. To close, each candidate will have up to 2 minutes for a closing statement. The order of the candidates we chose in the hall, and we will let them start, and it'll go to the left of them, and they'll be able to do their opening remarks, first question and closing. And we did that, like I say, out there in the hall among the candidates that are here. So is there any questions about tonight? I can't get any closer, I'm too short. Is there any questions tonight about anything? I know you're all, these mics actually work a little better than mine, so hopefully you might get a little bit better. It won't bend. So at this time, I would like to introduce our Board of Supervisors members. We have Mr. Baker and Mr. Ferguson, or no, Mr. Ferguson, and then
I'm Tim
Mr.
Taylor.
Tim.
That happened at the. Something's going on, Sharon.
I know. I'm messing everybody up.
It's an inside joke between
Yeah. So we want to start with Mr. Baker. Would you like to get started?
You may need to move the mic down to Steve. Supervisor Baker.
Do they know the 4 minutes? They do know? Okay.
Good evening. It's a pleasure to be here this evening. Just a couple things. I wanted to be here. I just had major surgery about 10 days ago, but I felt that it was imperative that I be here to show that I do care. Okay. Moving on, it's been an honor to serve the people of District 2 and the citizens of Shenandoah County for the past 4 terms, which would be 16 years. It certainly has not been easy by any stretch of imagination. It is always a challenge, but we're proud of some of the things that we have done. I will always remember this, that it was a gentleman that told me my first year. He said, Steve, when you make your decisions, do what you feel is the best for Shenandoah County for the future. And having said that, a lot of it I look at is decisions we make now that maybe 20, 30 years down the road, they look back and said that was a tough decision, but that was the right decision. So, I can feel very, very proud of that. Some of the things that I'm really happy about that we have been able to accomplish, just some of the infrastructure. The new courthouse that was built down there, that has worked out very, very well. I know when we bid that thing out, we thought, well, we go ahead and do on the other side of the road, which is now the Human Services place. And we were able to get them both bid what they thought that would just be the courthouse. So anyway, that was a very, financial decision that we were able to come up with. Another one is this building right here, the Charterhouse. It came to us probably about 10 years ago, about possibly making this into a school for children that had the special needs. A lot of them was being sent to Manassas, and it was a lot of travel. Make a long story short, we got this thing built at no cost to the citizens of the county because we rent out space to other jurisdictions, and so all the mortgages being paid like that. So it was a win-win situation. I know I'm probably running a little bit short on time, but I want to move on. A couple things that I am very proud of there. I'm a very strong supporter of the school system. especially vocational education that's dear to my heart at Triplet Tech. We got 2 new programs in there in the past a couple years. One was fire and rescue. This year we got HVAC. And the thing about it is, if these students want to go to Triplet Tech and learn a trade, then there's job waiting for them when they come out. So it's a win-win situation. So they do not have to go to college and spend a tremendous amount of money. So they're ahead of the curve. One other thing, and moving on, I know I could talk, but we got to go here. Fire and rescue. About 3 years ago, I was called by one of the, I believe it was Mount Jackson. And they say, Steve, we are not able to make all our calls. These are with the volunteers. We need help. So I took it upon myself, along with my other fellow board members, to be able to get all the stations 24/7 coverage. And very, very happy, because when someone needs or has emergency, then they have someone to come by and to take care of them and be able to transport them. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Carl.
Yeah, we were told to keep our remarks short. We actually have a board meeting here at 7 o'clock, so we have to get out here for that, Steve and I, and then we'll leave Dave up here all by himself, so he'll do just fine. I also want to say thank you, of course, everyone that set this up. I appreciate everybody. I appreciate everybody coming out. I'll put my coaching voice on. I appreciate everyone coming out. It's good to see out there in the audience people that have run in public office before, and I want to say thank you. Raise your hand if you're running for public office for the first time. All right, I'm praying for you, okay? But I appreciate y'all willing to step up, because it's not for everybody, okay? Conrad there, he's the one that kind of talked me into running for the Board of Supervisors 4 years ago, and of course the thing I heard from him was, it really doesn't take that long. Lie. You'll get a chance to go to all kinds of great meetings where you have all kinds of great dinners and things like that. Lie, okay? Because what was interesting when I started my term, it was very unique because COVID hit, okay, and it entirely changed everything. So the experience was a little different from what we were told. But first of all, I represent District 6, and District 6 is very unique, okay, because I tell people I represent the townies. Because after our last census, basically District 6 shrunk. Okay, it's like a shrink wrap around the town of Strasburg. So it's actually really the town of Strasburg's District 6 now. Okay, I lost Deer Rapids, lost Sandy Hook. Okay, so I'm really looking at an incorporated area. So I have less county property than anybody, it's not incorporated. So this is where my experience came in handy, because when I first got into public office, I served on the Strasburg Town Council for 5 years, and then I was mayor for 8 years of Strasburg. And one thing you always heard was about the relationship that you have between the county and the towns. And some said it was okay, others said it could be improved. So that's one thing I felt, that me having the background with the town government and then going to the county level, the dark side, some people call it, okay? I had that experience of working with the towns and then now working at the county level. So I feel that really helps me a lot when it comes to making sure that the county and town, we're having good discussions. I work a lot. I talk and reach out to the current town council. I also meet with Mayor Brandy from times to make sure, that she knows what we're doing on the county level and also what's happening in the town level. So I think that is important when it comes to the district that I currently represent. People, when it comes to really at this level, and this is one reason I run as an independent, because when I ran for council and mayor, you run basically as an independent. And what you do is I enjoy going out and getting the signatures and getting a chance to talk to people. And it's all about relationships. Okay, I cannot say that enough. In other words, you got to have relationships, work with people. You got to come to compromise sometimes. You got to collaborate, etc. So since I had that town background of running that way, I just decided to continue to run that way at the county level, and it's worked out for me. As I mentioned, COVID had a big impact when we first got into office. You know, we had to learn an awful lot. It really changed a lot of things that happened. One silver lining that happened though in COVID was there was some funding that came along. And so we were able to use that on some one-time expenses. And I'm already getting time called on me. I thought 11, okay, I'm sorry. All right, so anyway, we got a chance, Steve alluded to some things, but for example, we got a chance to just get a new Parks and Rec facility using some COVID money. And our CIP was going to cost about $15 million, and we were able to get it about $2.5 million. So that was a win-win there. The big thing that's coming up that we got to deal with, people, is our comprehensive plan is going to be voted on in our next term. That is monumental. And you shut me down right now? Okay. I'm buying some from Dave. So, but the comp plan is, it is so important, and I cannot emphasize this enough. We have 6 town comp plans. We also have the county comp plan, but you must voice your opinions and thoughts about our comp plan, because that is our Bible that we use when it comes down to making our decisions. Quickly at the state level, okay, all 140 seats are up. Senate seats, okay, representative seats, etc. I think we can do a better job of reaching out to those representatives, okay, when it comes down to once the elections are settled. We're losing over 600 years of experience in the General Assembly this coming year. That's a lot of experience. There's going to be a lot of new bodies out there. I already talked to Timmy French if he happens to win. I'd have a good relationship with Jeff Walters and Speaker Gilbert. I think it's important we as a board do a better job working at the state level, okay, when it comes down to helping us at the local level. And since I got to shut up, okay, just real quick, public service is an honor, and that's exactly what it is. I was always taught by my parents, who both served on the council, and then my mom on the board of supervisors. It's all about serving with integrity, and that's what I plan to do. There's no really secret formula, people. You know, I just kind of hear what's going on. I try to get input, and I try to make the decision, like Steve said, to make the best decision for Shenandoah County. So thank you very much. And Steve and I have to go to a meeting, so we're sorry for leaving. You got it, Dave? You got it.
Got it.
All right.
Is my mic on?
You might want to get it closer.
Bring it close as you can, sir.
Can you hear me now?
A little better.
Can you hear me now?
But loud. Take your name tag with you.
Can you hear this one? Can you hear it now? I don't want to eat it.
You don't have to.
All right, you just heard from 2 sitting supervisors. I'm not a sitting supervisor, so I ought to have a little extra time so that you get to know me and who I am and what my qualifications are for seeking this office. I graduated from Strasburg High School, was raised in Strasburg with 6 brothers and 2 sisters. When I got out of high school, I went in the United States military, the Army. I spent a year in Korea, and I spent a year in Vietnam. In Vietnam, I was promoted to sergeant and was responsible for the rapid deployment of communication systems. When I got out, because of my training in the Army with communication systems, of course, I went to Chantel and asked for a job. Mr. French said, okay, I'll give you a job. You'll be a helper on a line crew. And he says, everybody here starts at the bottom. I didn't realize the bottom was that far down. But after 43 years, I retired as vice president of customer service, having most jobs in that organization during that tenure. During it also, I served as president of the Virginia Telephone Association, all the telephone companies of Virginia. I served on the board of the Virginia Cable Television Association, all the cable companies in Virginia. And what I tell you that for? So that you know I've had experience in very high-level boards and duties that I was able to actually progress to the executive level in. Why do I want to be a supervisor? Well, I want to be a supervisor because I care about Shenandoah County. I care about the people of Shenandoah County. And what have I done to demonstrate that I care? Well, I've been involved in a lot of civic organizations my entire adult life. The Free Clinic. I helped to start the Free Clinic, the first one in Shenandoah County. I received both a national and a state award for getting the Free Clinic and raising the money to get that up and running. I'm a member and director of the Shenandoah Foundation. We have funds that we give out to different nonprofits and different causes and scholarships every year, and work through the community that way to bring better good to it. I created with one other gentleman a program called Night to Shine, where every year we put on an event the Friday before Valentine's Day for special needs individuals in our community. Last year we had over 100 special needs people from Shenandoah County have a prom night at the Floats on Parade. Would have brought tears to your eyes. But those were a special group of people that we did that for. I just recently, with another gentleman, started a nonprofit called Community Resources for Education and Wellness. And we're going to provide services to not only the youth, but senior citizens and everybody, others in Shenandoah County for those types of programs. And if you want to equate it to something, it would be like a YMCA. And that would be, first one will be located in Mount Jackson. This is what I'm most proud of. I have taught youth, kids, for 50-some years in a Sunday school class. Ever since I can remember, I have loved youth that much that I've been involved in that type of a thing. So, do I love the people of Shenandoah County? Absolutely, always have. Don't have to be on the board to do that, but you need to know that's one of the reasons I feel like I would be an asset to the board. I care about this county's growth, its education needs, and the positioning of Shenandoah County for the future. What do we want 5 years, 10 years, 15 years down the road? What do we want to do? Because whatever we do now is what's going to happen then. So we need to know now what the outcome may be or what it will be. What do we want it to be, and then make those hard decisions. What have I shown that would see where I was involved in that type of thing? Well, I'm on the member of the Chamber of Commerce, 500 some members on the Chamber, businesses, and I'm a director on there. Got the red flag. I only got 2 more pages. I'm on the Woodstock Rotary Club. I'm a director on the board on Shenandoah Valley Co-op, was on the board for there. Most importantly, I've served the county for 12 years on the Board of Supervisors previously, 8 years ago, for 12 years. What was my track record then? Well, let me tell you a little bit about my track record, and I'll go real fast, okay? Track record. At the end of the 12 years, our tax rate was 57 cents. It was the second lowest tax rate in 15 surrounding counties. The lowest in 15 surrounding counties. The first year I was on the board, 2004, I raised taxes 0. 2005, 0. 2006, 3 cents for public safety, firefighters. 2007, 0. 2008, 0. 2009, 0. 2010, 0. Someone would have you believe that, I was a tax and spend individual. No, that's how many times I did not raise taxes. 2011, 0. 2012, raised the tax for VRS, Virginia Retirement System for the employees. 2013, we raised tax. Education and public safety, again, for fire and rescue and the Sheriff's Department. So that was the tax record for that thing. But you can't brag about that. if all you can brag about is you got the lowest tax rate, you're doing something wrong. If all you can brag about is you didn't raise taxes, you could be doing something wrong. What did you do? Well, here's what we did. We installed school energy saving renovations. We had county government center renovated. We worked in the county library. We had a district courthouse built. We had health and human services building, social services built. We did the Edinburg school renovation here. We did the Mount Jackson wastewater plant. We did the leachate line at the landfill. We added a new cell site at the landfill. We did save the old courthouse to what it is today. We did that. We built a regional jail without those tax increases. And when I left office, and after those 12 years, we had a lower debt service than I did when we come in, even with doing all those things. So how does that happen? I say it happens through good management. I say it happens through watching the dollars that you spend and spend them wisely. I say it happens by listening to the public and what do they want and what do we need, and we do it. And I'll leave you with this, because I know my time's up, and I'll skip a couple pages here. In closing, I guess I'll say this. We need to look at a new way of government in Shenandoah County. You are not just a taxpayer. You're not just a customer in the county providing a service to you as a customer. You're an investor in Shenandoah County. You're investing your money in Shenandoah County when you pay a tax. You deserve a return on that investment. I should be treating you like a stockholder. And I should be giving you value for your investment. And that's what I plan to do. And how am I going to do it? With three things that I feel proud of that I do. One is integrity. One is common sense. And the other is knowledge. And appreciate your vote.
I'm going to stand over here. Maybe y'all can hear me a little bit better. Thank you all for coming and hearing the Board of Supervisors side of this. Mr. Ferguson, thank you for coming. And thank you for Mr. Taylor and Mr. Baker as well. So we're going to take a short break. We're going to set up for the school board forum, and then we'll get started again. Like I was saying, we will ask the question to each candidate. We have pre-selected the way it's going to be done, and they will have 2 minutes to answer. We have our timers just like we did for the board, and the candidates, we went over it. They'll have time to rebuttal, and that's 30 seconds, and then we'll close, and the candidates will have 2 minutes after that. So again, we had a lot of questions come in, so bear with us. We went through them. A lot of them are repeats. Now, just to clarify a little bit, the school board, it's timed. With the Board of Supervisors, it was just statements, and they had a little bit greater time to deal with it. So I will start out, and I will introduce Mr. Mike as one of our school board, Ms. Joy, Ms. Gloria, and Mr. Tom. And we will get started. Ms. Joy was our first opening question, so if you can get your mic over there, that would be great. And our first question is, what have you done to date to better prepare? Opening remarks. I forgot them. Go ahead. Sorry about that. I'm glad you straightened me out.
I'm Joy Bauserman, and I'm running for the school board for District 3, which includes Fort Valley, Edinburg, and St. Luke. I taught earth science, chemistry, physics, and advanced biology at Central High School from 1972 to 1982. I finished my teaching career at Broad Run High School in Loudoun County in 2003. And I worked in research at Naval Research Lab for 3 years. I believe that the students of Shenandoah County deserve the best education we can give them, whether the students pursue a higher education or enter the workforce. The school system needs to provide an education that includes reading, writing, math, critical thinking skills, life skills, and social skills, as well as technological skills, in order for them to reach their potential and be successful. I believe the teachers are trained professionals, and they need the support of the administration and the community. The community needs to support and fund education to retain teachers and enable students to stay here or return after going to college to the community for a productive life. Shenandoah County teachers need the support of administrators and need a competitive salary and benefits that align with surrounding counties. I believe that politics has no place in education. When politics enter the educational process, the students and teachers become victims. Politics detract from education. Education should provide students with skills that prepare them
Ms. Joy.
to succeed.
Time. Ms. Gloria?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Gloria Carlineo, also running for District 3. I am very happy to be here with you all tonight. Briefly, I am a retired attorney. Please don't hold that against me. I mostly worked on Capitol Hill for Chairman Dan Burton. I've been in Fort Valley for about 10 years. I've been very involved in the community, including in the Citizens Advisory Committee. And I have a son who just graduated from Central High School. So I have a pretty good idea of what's going on in our schools today. And I like to tell people who attended these schools in the past that while the building may look the same, what's going on inside is actually very different. And this is why I'm running for school board. And it's to help the kids, to help the schools, to help our county, and ultimately to help our country. I am a sixth generation American. I have a long family history of military service and people who have actually fought for our principles here in the United States. And these are the principles that I believe were actually inspired by the God Almighty. And all encompassed in the Constitution, which we need to protect. Yet we know that our ways, our history, and even our constitutional rights are under attack right now. And for decades, they have been taken over by a leftist ideology that have taken over our education system. This is why in a poll taken in 2019, we have 1 in 3 millennials who favored communism. We have 70% of them actually would have voted for a socialist candidate. 2 years later, 32% of college students supported communism, while only 24% of them supported capitalism. This is obviously a problem that we have, and it's definitely a threat to our society. And this is the reason why we must take back our education system, and we must start here at home. We must educate our kids. We cannot indoctrinate them. And we have a lot of kids who need a lot of help, and this is why I intend to help with our work with our students, and I can do that with your support and your vote. Thank you very much.
Mr. Tom? You're up.
All right, first of all, I hope everybody can hear me. I want to thank the opportunity to come here to speak. First, I want to pass on my condolences to my opponent, Jonathan. Very sorry to hear the loss of a family member, so I just want to be respectful and pass my condolence on to him. Anyway, about myself, I grew up in Shenandoah County. I grew up on a dairy farm in Quicksburg. If many of y'all, if you know where that's at, in the south end of the county, along the railroad tracks. Had daily chores on the farm. Unfortunately, had to help my dad milk 115 cows before I went to high school. I was involved in church, grew up through a church, was involved in sports, showing livestock. Graduated in 1988 from Stonewall Jackson High School, went to Ferrum College, graduated in 1993 with a degree in public administration. Also joined the Virginia Army National Guard in infantry. Later on, continued on with the West Virginia National Guard as a flight line crew chief on a C-5. It was a great organization, and I'm convincing my son he needs to go through that after high school as far as an education. I miss that organization a lot. I am employed with Norfolk Southern Railroad as engineer and conductor. I have served on the Shenandoah County Fair Board for 17 years, 7 years as president, and I really am a big advocate for the fair. I think it's a great opportunity for kids. Bottom line is, I think it's a great opportunity for kids to experience. It's just what I refer to as good, clean country fun. I attend Pleasant View Church. I also attend Newmarket Seventh-day Adventist Church. If you're wondering, as far as my morals and values, I'm a big advocate. Do you have a question? I'm proud to say that I think the best book ever on principles and guidance in my life and what I stand by and what I go by, it's called the Bible. I'm a big believer in Christian values, family, integrity, equality. Also, I do believe in being financially responsible. Thank you for this opportunity.
Mr. Mike, you're up.
Thank you all for being here. My name's Mike Rickard. I'm running for the town of Strasburg, District 6. I've been a resident of Strasburg for about the past 27 years. When I first moved to Strasburg, my community service started with the volunteer fire department. From there, I met my wife of 23 years. We had 3 kids, one of which has already completed her school through Shenandoah County. And in that time, I started being asked to volunteer to coach kids in the town of Strasburg. Through the past 13 years of coaching, I've met many of the kids in Shenandoah County or in the town of Strasburg. My wife, who works for the school system, has worked for the school system for the past 10 years. So you could say I know a little bit about the school system. When my son, who's a senior now, was in the pre-K program, I was called and asked to speak at the school board meeting for the first time. And it was when they were cutting budgets and they were looking at doing away with the special education programs for pre-kindergarten. That's when I started taking an interest in the school board. Later on, my daughter, who was down at JMU and majoring in music, they were talking about cutting funding for the music program. Again, the school system reached out to me, said, hey, would you happen to go and talk for the school board? Certainly, I went and spoke. Passionate about the kids in our community. I'm passionate about our schools. One thing I want to do is I want to make sure our schools can compete with the private schools and the homeschooling that has all of a sudden become the rage. We need to get our public school system, get our parents involved again, and that's why I'm running. I want to be your voice, your vote. I don't come with an agenda. You guys let me know what your concerns are and what you'd like the school system to be, and I'll be your voice. Thank you.
Thank you all. Sounds like we got a good group up here and it's going to have some good answers. So our next one we drew was Miss Gloria. You'll be the first to answer questions. And our first question is, what have you done to date to better prepare yourself for potentially assuming the role of school board member on January 1st? For example, have you attended school board, board and supervisor meetings, school board meetings, or spoken with administration to better understand the position?
Thank you very much for that question. Actually, yes, I've done all 3 of them, and I've actually met with Dr. Shepard and talked about some of the concerns that I do have for the schools. As I said, I have a kid who just graduated from high school, so I have a pretty good idea of what's going on. We have a lot of problems with drugs. We have a lot of problems with education not really being what it used to be, or at least what we grew up with. So we definitely have a challenge in front of us. We need to have more rigorous standards, and we need to have we need to have an agenda that is going to keep the kids challenged in the schools. A lot of kids are falling through the wayside, and even when they graduate from high school, they're not prepared for college, they're not prepared for trade, they're not even prepared to have a job at Walmart. So we definitely have to work on that. So that is my first thing. My second thing is, obviously I have a pretty lengthy and extensive academic background, having gone through school and law school. I also have another perspective, because I'm not from Shenandoah County. I do have a perspective from other areas that I have studied in. So I think that's something that I can bring into this area. A lot of innovation, a lot of comparisons to areas and schools that have actually worked, and hopefully help not just Shenandoah County, but the growing diverse community that we have here in Shenandoah County. But thirdly, probably what prepares me the most for this position is the fact that I feel very strongly about this. This is something that I am very passionate about. Like I said, we need to work for our kids, we need to help our kids. This is the only way we're gonna help our county. If we don't help our kids now, eventually what will happen is they're not gonna have jobs, they're gonna turn to crime, they're gonna turn to drugs, and we're all gonna suffer from that. So obviously this is something that I am willing to put a lot of time into and a lot of effort, and that's why I'm here today. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Tom, you're up next. Do you need the question repeated?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. What have you done to date to better prepare yourself for potentially assuming the role of school board member on January 1st? For example, have you attended Board of Supervisor meetings, school board meetings, or spoken with administration to better understand the position?
Okay, I feel very confident about answering this question, and okay, I guess I'm looking at it as thinking outside the box or outside of the system, all right? If the system is nothing but educators, and don't get me wrong, I highly respect the educators. They are educated, they are professionals, okay? So they know the education system. But when those students graduate, they're going out in the real world. And hopefully, some of them obviously are coming back into the school system to teach. We need them. They're important. It's crucial. But so as far as I'm concerned, you do need people outside of whatever you want to call it. You know, I work for a big corporation. I see corporate greed firsthand, unfortunately, all right? It's not all warm and fuzzy. I'm accountable for what I do, and if I don't do what I'm supposed to do, if I make a mistake, it's very costly. So I do feel my life, my education, my experience, the way I was raised, and the things I've been involved with in the community, I do think that I can provide a different view on the school board, and I'm looking forward to working with the school system, the superintendent, the principals, and on down the line as far as working together. How can we, our main thing is, while we're there, our main thing is teaching and learning, and that's our priority, what we need to focus on. And then from there, there's other things that make a well-rounded student, the extracurricular activities, the sports. So, but we need to focus on teaching and learning. That's why we're there, and how do we work together from all the board, the school board members, along with the administration, to provide the best academic atmosphere when it comes to teaching and learning. And I have a invested interest. I have a child in the school system, so I'm a school parent for the parents. So I have a stake here as far as an invested interest in the system. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tom. Mr. Mike, you're up next. Do you need me to repeat the question?
No, sir.
Okay.
As I said earlier, my school board experience started 13 years ago when I was asked to speak at a school board meeting. After that, I was asked to serve on the Special Education Advisory Committee for Shenandoah County Public Schools. There I served for a few years. After that, I was asked to speak for the music program. I did that, and when I started getting approached and asked to run for school board, I looked at people like they were crazy. I said, I'm not a politician. The last thing you want me doing is running for school board. They said, no, we know what you stand for. We know your morals. We know your ethics. You have 3 kids in the school system. We want you to run. So my wife and I started praying about it. Needless to say, with her working for the school system for the past 10 years, our close-knit group of friends pretty much work in the school system. So last year when we lost 21 teachers at the elementary school alone in Strasburg, and some of the school board members and some of the school board office staff wanted to say it had to do with pay, I can assure you it had nothing to do with pay. So as time went on and my wife and I prayed about me being on school board, I said, you know what? I said, this seems like the next progression. I no longer coach kids sports now that our youngest plays in high school. I said, let me start going to these school board meetings, see if there's any conflicts. I can tell you that I've been to every one since January 1st of this year. Like I said, I plan to be your voice, represent the town of Strasburg, and hopefully make our schools a better place. I'm also a member of School Board Member Alliance, and I've been educated by them. Thank you.
Ms. Joy, you're up. Do you need me to repeat the question?
No, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, I have been to some school board meetings, to Board of Supervisors meetings, and I've met with the superintendent. And my academic background is very diverse. I was certified in all of the sciences. I have a degree in secondary education as a principal. I have degrees in chemistry, a master's degree, and a PhD in environmental science and public policy. So I think my background gives me a lot of credentials to work with a school system, and I have been able to work with teachers and with administrators to improve the curriculum, improve the teaching in the schools that I have been in. know that in the school system, one of the things that has to happen is everybody has to be flexible. It's not something that you can come in and you're going to just teach. You have to have some flexibility, and you have to be able to work with other team members and other administrators. I believe that we should have a vocational educational program in the county that is top-notch, because many of the students in this area do not want to go to college. They want to stay home and they want to work. We need to provide a good vocational educational program for them. Our schools need to provide not only vocational education, but they need to provide academics as well as extracurricular activities. These make well-rounded students.
All right, thank you, Ms. Joy. So we'll start with our second question. And Ms. Gloria, it'll be yours. Or we're going to rotate, we rotate to Tom. Yes.
Me?
Yep, Tom. Sorry about that. I look at my notes. All right, so how will you fairly represent and consider all children and their guardians, keeping in mind that they are all your responsibility, not just constituents who vote for you? You want me to repeat that? Yeah. How will you fairly represent and consider all children and their guardians, keeping in mind that they are all your responsibility, not just those constituents who vote for you?
All right, I don't have any problem answering this question. I've always been a person that I treat everyone equal. I treat people the way I want to be treated, and I look at everyone, okay? Whatever your position is, whether you're, let's face it, call it whatever you want to call it, the top or the bottom, I always show respect to each and every individual. So my view is I need to look and pay attention to all the students at every level, everywhere. I look forward to calling up, Mike and saying, Mike, I don't have to, I have to be off work today. Do you have time to stop in your school? Let's see what, just like to see what's going on. I don't believe in micromanaging, but I do believe you do need to know what's going on, okay? So, and also, back when I volunteered at North Fork Middle School, I worked with kids with special needs. So just like my platform, on my platform, I do support special needs, and I also say that every kid needs help. So I look at everyone equally. I treat everyone equally. I treat people the way I want to be treated, and like we've all heard, do unto others have done unto you. So that's my view, with no problem treating people, everyone across the board, top to bottom, either end of the county and treating me respectfully. And I want to know, I have an interest. I want to know what's going on. So, real quick, a thing in college that I'll never forget this. I'm going to try to say this real fast. It was presented in one of our business classes. I thought it was really neat. I'll never forget this. A company, they looked into productivity. They thought the lights would be the answer, okay? So they changed the lighting, and they went around and surveyed all the employees. Well, two results. One, productivity did go up, okay? But it wasn't because of the lighting. It was because they came around and talked to the employees, and they felt that someone cared. And that's why productivity went up.
Thank you. Mr. Mike, do you need me to repeat it?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Thank you. I can assure you I would fairly represent all the kids of Shenandoah County. When you go to represent a jurisdiction, a district, wherever you represent, you don't know who voted for you and who didn't. All you know is you got X number of votes and you won. When it comes to being a school board member, you should represent the parents, the kids, and all the staff as fairly as anybody else. Like Tom said, you treat everybody the way you get treated. When it comes to representing the kids, my main thing is that we give them the best education that we can, and we represent the staff. Like Tom said, we've got to be in touch with the people that work for Shenandoah County, the people that are educating our kids. My biggest thing is let's get the parents involved again. Back when my daughter, who's now in college, was in kindergarten, we had a great program called the Watchdogs. I want to bring that back to Shenandoah County. We should have volunteers in every school. I can tell you there were numerous times that I was in the elementary school and there were 6, 7 male role models there volunteering. There were several females volunteering as well under the PTA and PTO. Those programs, what happened to them? Why aren't we doing that anymore? If you want to represent the kids, let's get the parents involved again. The teachers, I'm sure, could use the help. The SROs could use the extra sets of eyes of grandfathers, fathers, uncles going in and volunteering their time to work with kids that might not have a positive male role model at home. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Joy, do you need the question repeated?
No, I think I'm okay.
Okay.
We need to teach all the children, and public education was meant to teach all the children, and that's what we need to do. And we need to teach them so that they can work and learn to the best of their ability, whether they're in special ed, whether they're pursuing higher education. We need to teach those kids. I have taught kids at all levels in science, from kids who couldn't read, couldn't comprehend what they were reading, all the way to top-notch kids who went away to top-notch colleges. So I've taught all levels, and I would treat my constituents, the people who voted for me, whether they voted for me or didn't, I would treat them all the same, because their children are part of the Shenandoah County school system, and all kids need to be treated the same, and they need to reach their potential, and we need to provide for them the best way we can. Public education is for all the people, and I would like to see our public education become more of what it was in the past, where everybody respected education, had a value for education, and were glad to send their kids to school, were glad to support the teachers, and support the the educational administrative system.
Thank you. All right, we're ready for.
Well, I think I have a little bit of a different take on this, because even though I believe that we need to treat all the kids with respect and with love and try to help them the best they can, not all the kids are going to respond the same way to education. I can tell you, I myself homeschooled many years, my kids, and the way my daughter learned was very different to the way my son learned. So I had to kind of be a little bit more creative with how I would teach him, who didn't like to read and didn't like to write, as opposed to my daughter, who loves to do those things. So I think one of the things that we need to take into consideration is, first of all, that a good education is going to rise people out of poverty, and it's going to help them set out for the future. So taking that into the context, we need to talk more to the teachers and see what it is that they need to be able to reach our kids better. Not just try to pass the SOLs or try to just have those standards that the state is telling us. We can actually change some of that and be more proactive with what we teach our kids. And also, I believe that we need to have more parental involvement, and we need to have more community involvement, and have our kids be better prepared to how it is that they're going to handle the future, like Mr. Tom said before. Because in the end, not all of them are going to go to college, and not all of them are going to go to trade school, which we have a fantastic one. But some of them may just want to, have their own business, or they want to go into the family business, or they want to just have a job. Either way, they need to be prepared. And I have to say, one of the reasons why I decided to run is because of some of the experiences that I've seen out in the community. Some kids who don't even know how to give change for $1. If a kid is having a problem giving change for $1, that person's not going to be able to get a job. Some kids can't even read a clock. They can't read appropriately. They can't write appropriately. So we need to make sure that we try to address all those needs within the school system. And another one that I want to talk about is also a lot of the growing Hispanic community that we have here. I've heard that a lot of them have been having some issues, and there's a language barrier that we need to attend to before it becomes a problem. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we're up to question number 3, and Mr. Mike, you'll be taking this one first. So I'm going to read it as it's written. What expenses within Shenandoah County, as a parent, educator, or volunteer, will give you insight and help guide your decisions should you be elected? You want me to repeat that? What expenses is what I'm reading here, or what? Can anybody verify? Experiences? Okay, it was kind of run together. What experiences within Shenandoah County School Board as a parent, educator, volunteer will give you insight on and help guide your decisions should you be better elected, or should you be elected?
I would say the first and foremost thing that would help guide my decisions is what my constituents want, the people I represent. The second thing that would help is having kids in the school system. I was recently asked about the new cafeteria and food program. I said, I don't know much about it, but I said, I can tell you that my boys are happy with it. My senior in high school, he buys lunch now every day. He used to take his lunch. I can tell you he took his lunch from the time he was in pre-kindergarten all the way through his 11th grade year. This is the first year he's ever bought lunch. Stuff like that, having a wife that works in the school system for 10 years. Our core group of friends that work in the school system, I hear on a daily basis what the needs are, what we need to do to improve our schools, and I think that brings a lot to me as a board member to have that insight. There again, coaching the kids of Strasburg. The parents, other parents talk to me knowing that I have a wife that works for the school system, knowing that I have kids that are their kids' ages. So I think that's what brings me the most insight, and going to the school board meetings and meeting with the superintendent. And again, I'm a member of School Board Member Alliance, so I'm taking that on as my own when I started this campaign to educate myself to become a school board member. Thank you.
Ms. Joy?
Would you repeat that question, please?
Yes. What experiences within Shenandoah County Public Schools as a parent, educator, or volunteer will you give insight and help guide decisions should you be elected?
Well, first, I would look and listen to the needs of the students and the needs of the teachers, because that seems to be one of the issues that I keep hearing from people that I talk to, is the teachers need the support of the administration. The teachers need help in classroom situations that they shouldn't have to handle anyway. Also, you need to listen for the needs of the students, and that comes from the parents. If the children are small, if they're bigger, then it would come through the guidance counselor. But in any instance, what you're looking for in experiences in the school system is the success of the students. Are they learning? Are they getting the material? Are they getting where they want to be? Do they want to go to higher education? Do they want to go to vocational education? Are they in special ed? So are they getting their needs met, and are we being successful at helping them achieve those goals? And that should be what we're looking at, is the success of the students, whether it be in the classroom or whether it's out on the extracurricular activities. Where is the success that these kids are having? And if they're not being successful and not moving on and not getting productive, then we need to look at what we're doing, and we need to look at what's happening in the school.
Thank you. Ms. Gloria.
So I think the best experience that I have to be able to perform this job is, like I said before, my son just graduated from Central High School. And I was very fortunate to have a very good relationship with him, where he would tell me about some of the things that were going on in school with other kids, with the teachers, with the classes. So that gave me a really good insight over the years that he attended there as to some of the things that we're going to be dealing with, and some of the things that most people don't realize are happening. Because like I said, people who attended before, they have these memories of what the school used to be, and a lot of that it's gone, and it's very different nowadays. In fact, the reason I decided to run in the first place was because we had an issue with one of my son's teacher, where he kept coming over to me and telling me that this teacher, instead of teaching about U.S. government, she was instead teaching about gun control for almost a month. So obviously, the fact that he would tell me what was going on helped me understand, wait, this may be a problem. So when I went to the school and we're talking about this, I had a lot of his friends come over to me and tell me what their complaints were, and what some of the problems that they saw with the class, with the teacher, with some of the other teachers. So that gave me an insight. After that, I've talked to a lot of teachers, and I know that a lot of teachers also have a lot of issues. And let me tell you, they don't have to do with money. They don't have to do with salary. A lot of them feel afraid to be in that classroom. My son would tell me this. Sometimes one of the kids would throw a computer, one of those Chromebooks, at a teacher. So we know that they have some circumstances that are not optimal for teaching, and some of these circumstances are not optimal for learning. So obviously, just having that insight will help me be able to be a better school board member.
Thank you. Mr. Tom.
All right, as far as answering this question, I'm going to start in the 80s. How about it? I remember as far as experience and family, it all starts with my parents. In middle school, I remember very clearly on the playground, and I see my dad come in with a dump truck with a load of dirt. That's when baseball started at the school, and they needed some to freshen up the dirt, the field, so they volunteered bringing in dirt. But that's where it started. Then seeing the experience of my family, building the music building, building the weight building, so that therefore students wouldn't have to take down the cafeteria tables to have band, orchestra, put them up for lunch, take the tables down for course, and then put them up at the end of the day. So it all started there, and it's continued on with my family as far as us volunteering. Like I said earlier, I volunteered in the class with Mrs. Sabanko at North Fork. I volunteered under Coach Kroll with track and a little bit of football. So the experience and volunteer, I do have a background of it with the Shenandoah County Public School System, and I continue to communicate with teachers, the faculty, the principals, as far as, what's going on in the school system, how are things going, and the things that they're challenging them today. So once again, the experience of volunteering, our family being involved in the school system has been there, and it obviously will continue. My interest will continue as far as helping and understanding Shenandoah Public School System, because the Shenandoah County Public School System was great to me, okay? It was great to me. It prepared me for college, continuation, and so this gives me the opportunity to do a duty, to have the opportunity to come back and provide and be on the Shenandoah County School Board to help others.
So we're up to question number 4. Ms. Joy, you'll have the honors of doing this one first. Without going into your background, please tell us what specific policy differences distinguish you from your opponent. And I'll repeat that. Without going into your background, please tell us what specific policy differences distinguish you from your opponent.
Well, I'm all about giving our students the best education, and I have had children in school. One son, my stepson, was in middle school and elementary school here in Shenandoah County, and the other son was in 9th and 10th grade at Strasburg High School. And he also came back and was a coach at Strasburg High School. What else? What was the rest of that question?
What specific policy
Okay.
differences distinguish?
And I don't have an axe to grind about any of the situations, and my kids were not, the greatest of greatest kids. But I feel like we should give our kids the best education that we possibly can. We have to be diversified because we have a diverse county with a diverse culture, with diverse kids, and their needs are all different, and we need to provide an education for all of our kids. And of course, as a constituent, I have to listen to my constituents, but then I have to be able to work with the constituent and the administration in order to be able to resolve the problems. So this is where we need to go with this, not try to create problems and get issues that really aren't all that, as I'll say, great.
Thank you. Ms. Gloria.
Can you repeat that question again,
Yes.
please?
Without going into your background, please tell us what specific policy differences distinguish you from your opponent.
Well, I guess this is a little bit hard because I don't really know what my opponent's specific issues are. But just based on what we're talking about here, I guess my point of view comes from what is going on in the schools right now, not what was going on in the school 10, 20, 30 years ago. And I would say, especially after COVID, we've seen even a shift that is more marked than it was before. Since COVID, we've seen a lot of absenteeism in the schools, and this is a big problem that we have with our kids. And I'll tell you, I'll be honest, even with my son, he would say, well, there was no real need to go to school because even if he doesn't go, he can just, catch up in a couple of days and still get A's. And he did graduate with honors from high school, but it wasn't really challenging him anymore. I think in many ways we've kind of dumbed down our education and we're trying to teach to the bottom instead of trying to lift our kids up. So the lack of stringent and rigorous academic background is actually what's causing a lot of these kids to just kind of flounder and not really be interested in school anymore. And also the fact that schools are not safe anymore. I mean, this is not, back when we went to school, and even when my daughter went to school, it wasn't that bad. But nowadays, what we see in terms of drugs, of violence, or vaping, or all these other issues that our kids are having to deal with, it's scary. I do feel bad for this generation that has to deal with all this. So obviously, there's a lot of different set of problems that we have to deal with, especially since COVID, that we now need to address if we want to help our kids, if we want to help our county, and also if we want to help our country. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Tom, do you need the question repeated?
No, I don't. Thank you anyway. I kind of, I'm kind of a little puzzled with this. I'll be honest with you because I don't know my opponent's policies. So I've only met him once, and so I apologize, but it's hard for me to answer a question when I don't even really know his policies, and I can't. So really, the only thing I can resort to, and without going into background, it's very clear, and I'll just say it. It is what it is, but our policies are different as far as I'm very conservative. And I think it's fair to say by his Facebook, that's all I have to go by. Sorry, his policies are not conservative. So, the long and the short is, my policy is, it all stems back to what I said earlier. I'm very conservative, so my policies do have a foundation. I do believe in, I tell my son when I'm driving down the road, I don't make the rules and the laws, I have to follow them. But I do believe in rules, laws, a foundation, and I guess I keep resorting back, I apologize, but being conservative and a structure. You show me an organization that doesn't have structure or a foundation, I'll probably show you, if not then or in the future, a broken system. And that's just the way it works. There has to be a foundation. I'm a big believer of that, and I stem back to just being conservative. And I'm pretty sure, following his Facebook, our policies are pretty much different as far as, conservative and not conservative. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Mike.
Well, I'm unopposed, as most of you all know, so I don't have anybody to compare my policies to. I can tell you that I will be working to restore American traditional values to our school system. We need to bring back the importance of civics education. We need to restore parental involvement. And I will work to bring back transparency to the taxpayers of Shenandoah County. I will also work to bring accountability to the kids in our school system, accountability to our staff. The bottom line is it's a business. It's not just about educating the kids. It's about doing the best we can to educate those kids with the tax dollars we've got. So the big thing I want to bring back is transparency, where the taxpayer dollars are being spent, why we need more money, where we can save money and give to other programs. The biggest thing is restoring traditional American values to our school system.
All right.
That's it.
Yes.
I'm sorry. Just occurred to me that there is one thing that we do kind of, I think, maybe you can correct me, but that I do believe that is a policy differences in terms of the parental rights. That I do believe that parents and the community do have more of a say in the kids' education and everything about their upbringing. And I would like to see more of that once we go forward with our school board.
Anybody else like your 30 seconds? Ms. Joy?
Yeah, parents should be involved with their children's education. I know the parents were involved when I was here, when I was teaching, whether it was here or in Loudoun County. So yes, parents should be involved in education. They can help out in many, many ways, from seeing to it that the kids do their homework, from seeing to it that they get to the activities, and there's many things that they can participate in. They can participate on committees in schools. They can participate in help with extracurricular activities.
Thank you. Mr. Mike?
I wasn't going to beat a dead horse, but since given the opportunity, Joy touched on the homework thing, and that's a touchy subject with me. I can tell you, having kids in the school system, it's been a long time since I've seen any of my kids have much homework. I think there again, parental involvement, parents getting involved. Parents, if you're listening, get in your kids' Chromebooks, see what they're being taught. I know textbooks are a thing of the past, but involve yourself. See what your kids are learning.
Tom, do you want 30 seconds to rebuttal as well?
No, that's all.
All right. So, speaking of parental rights.
Hey,
Yeah.
can I add that 30, can I change that 30 seconds into my final remarks? Oh, come on, Mike.
No, I got to delete that. I'm sorry. So our next question will be to Ms. Gloria.
Okay.
And it's a parental rights question. So what can you do as a school board member to increase parental involvement into children's education?
All right, so that's a great question. I'll tell you, I told you a little bit about what happened with my son and when he had this teacher and the problems that we're having with what was being taught. And one of the problems that the teacher had was the fact that I had been helping my son do his work. I wasn't doing a test for him, I wasn't writing a paper, I was just basically helping him understand what the assignment was. And when the teacher found out, she just went crazy because she thought that parents should not be helping their kids with any of the school. So that's the first thing that I want to make sure that we change is that, like Mike said, that we have kids help out with their, we have parents help their kids with more of their work. One of the things that I saw when I was with Central, when I was trying to get involved and try to, I've been in other schools where parents have very strong PTAs and they're very involved in the school. I would go to some of the events that the principal was actually putting out for parents to learn about different things, and only like 5 or 6 parents would show up. Now, I understand a lot of parents are busy, but this is important stuff. I mean, we need to try to get parents back involved in their children's life. I would like to have them help out more with the direction that their kids are going to take. So there are many things that I know we can do. I grew up in Puerto Rico, and a lot of the parents were very involved. I knew all my friends' parents. And I was equally afraid of my friends' parents than I was from my own parents, because if they saw me doing something wrong, I knew they were going to go to my parents. So it was that whole sense of community and the parents getting involved in helping have an environment that was better for us growing up and getting along. And if somebody had a problem, they would make sure that we somehow try to address it. That's what we need to start doing. We need to see how we can talk to the parents and have them come back into the school and help with the things that we need to help our kids. Thank you.
Mr. Tom, do you need me to repeat it?
Yeah, could you repeat the question? Chuck
Yeah.
was distracting me.
What can you do as a school board member to increase parental involvement in their children's education?
Okay, I definitely am an advocate for parents. And like I said earlier, I am a school, one of my mottos is, or sayings, I'm a school parent for the parents. I would like to see, how do we get back to the days where there was big involvement of the, whatever it was when you went through school, PTA, PTO. I remember that very clearly, and we had fundraisers, and it was what came out of that was not only their involvement, they know what's going on, but the fellowship. And here again, back what I mentioned earlier, when people are involved, they feel like they have a contribution. They feel like they're a part of it, and they're a part of that success, and whatever it may be. So we do need to get the parents involved. And I think somehow we need to communicate with the parents. Who knows the child best? The parent. They know the child. So, if we need to survey them, we need to survey them. We need their input. We need to communicate. Somehow we need to make the parents more welcome. Now, don't get me wrong. I am definitely not, like I said earlier, I'm a school parent for the parent. But guess what? Guess what kid I'm going to be the hardest on? My own. I remember Coach Kroll saying the hardest athlete that he was the hardest on was his own son. So I don't believe in any kind of favoritism. I don't believe that, little Johnny, it's whatever the parent says, and no. They need to be involved to make that kid more successful. Here again, it all comes down to teaching and learning. So I do agree with what Mike mentioned earlier about the Watchdog program. I do think that was a great thing, a great opportunity. But, you know, obviously the biggest challenge is parents have to work during the day, so that right there is a hurdle. But we need to figure out how to make that more, you know, participate in that much. So anyway, we need to get the parents involved, kind of like the PTA, PTO days.
Okay. Mr. Mike, you need it? Repeat it?
No, I'm good. Thank you, Mike. The biggest thing I've found about getting people involved is the way I run my job in Northern Virginia, and that's lead by example. You get out there and you show the community that you're willing to roll up your sleeves and volunteer your time. The biggest time I've got is when I have a holiday and schools are open, I can go and volunteer my time at the school. But there again, we need the schools to invite that with the Watchdog program, the PTAs, the PTOs. The parents have to know that we want them to be involved. There again, another way of getting them involved is by having town hall meetings with the people you represent, which is what I plan to do. I don't come with an agenda. I want to be your voice. If you have concerns, ideas, whatever we can do to better the schools, I want to hear about them. That way, when I go to the school board meeting once a month, the work sessions, I can talk to my fellow board members about what your concerns are, what your ideas are, how we can improve our schools. Bottom line is, this is our next generation. I mean, this is the greatest gift parents are given by God, is their kids. And the parents should be involved. It should be welcome. I don't know where we got off track and the parents were feeling like they were unwelcome, but it's time to welcome them back into the school. The teachers, we're small communities. The teachers live in our communities. We know the teachers on a personal basis. Let's find out what we can do to help. Let's get in there and help. School board members, let's lead by example. Let's get in there and roll up our sleeves, get dirty, get involved, find out things we might not want to know. But I think that will make our schools better.
Thank you, Mr. Mike. Ms. Joy?
I agree that parents need to have more involvement in the schools. And one way to do that is through PTAs, which we used to have, where you have cooperation between the teachers and you have the parents. And the other thing that I would like to see more of is when the kids come home in the evenings and the parents are worn out and tired, is sit down and have a conversation with your kid. What did you do in school today? What is your homework for tonight? What are you all doing tomorrow? Plan things out so that you can actually know what's going on. And the biggest problem that I ever had with any students was parents would come in and say, well, he goes up in the room and he sits there and he plays on his computer. And I said, well, he's not doing his homework. I don't know. So they need to know. The parents need to be involved in the kids' education. They have to. And the other thing, we used to have back to school nights. I don't know if they still have back to school nights here or not, but it certainly was a good way for the teachers and the parents to get to know one another, and the teacher could lay out the plans for the year and tell the parents their expectations, and the parents knew what the expectations were. So I think back to school nights, we used to have them. I don't know if y'all still do or not, but in the schools that I was in Loudon, we did them all the time, and we had pretty good rapport with the parents.
Thank you. Does anybody need a rebuttal on any of this? Okay. All right, our last question for this evening will be Mr. Tom going first. Right?
I am?
Yes. See? What is your position on the weekday religious education?
Well, gee, imagine what my answer would be on this. Without a doubt, I support it. I've talked to George Bowers with Antioch Church, and I can't remember his name because we call him Bigfoot, but the associate pastor. I definitely support weekly religion education. I think it's a great thing. I remember when I was a kid, we had Bible school in class. So without a doubt, we need to figure out we need to support this. I'm sorry, but we need to support this, because if we don't, that's what Satan wants. That's exactly what he wants if we don't support it, okay? So we need to figure out how to support this and how to make it more involved. It's a great thing. They have a great program. They get on the bus, they go off the property. Like I said, I've talked to George Byers, and so without a doubt, I support it. That's my view on it. And we need to, I want to try to get, how do we get more kids involved? In high school, we had a thing, it was athletes, Christian athletes, that we had a little program there. But, yes, the answer to the question is I fully support it, and I will do whatever I can in my means to make it successful. And, Bennett. Okay, and just like my palm card says, hey, evil triumphs when good people do nothing, by Burke. I will always remember that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tom. Mr. Mike.
Man, what a great question. If y'all don't mind, I'm just going to take the opportunity of do like a commercial. Tomorrow morning, Strasburg, prayer at the poll. Thank you, Pastor Dusty. Friday, Fields of Faith. Be at Glen Proctor Field, 6:30 to 9 p.m. Pastor Rob is going to be talking. I'm a huge advocate of this. The best way to be in touch with our kids, what better way than incorporate religion in some way outside the school system? Prayer at the poll tomorrow. The Field of Faith Friday night. It's great. Great way to get your kids involved in something positive. All my years of coaching, the one thing I did is I always prayed with my kids before every game, whether I was their coach or not. When I coached, I prayed with my kid that I was coaching. I always gave the opportunity of all the other kids, you don't have to participate. I can tell you never in 13 years of coaching did I have a kid back out. And as a matter of fact, I can tell you one amazing story. I was down at Mount Jackson. We were in a basketball game. We were undefeated. 6th, 7th, and 8th grade boys. High score. The referees weren't very fair to us that day, and the kids knew it. Kids are all jumping up and down. Buzzer went off. We're going into overtime. One kid in my group there, I'm trying to figure out which 5 kids I'm going to put back on the floor. One kid was, Coach, Coach, Coach. I said, Coach, I said, Lincoln, what is it? He said, can we pray right now? I said, by all means, we can pray right now. So I'm a big advocate for Christianity, for religion, for God. Let's bring it back.
Thank you.
Tomorrow morning, prayer at the poll.
Ms. Joy.
Yes, I'll support the weekday religious program. When I was here in 1972 to 82, one of the things was they took it out of the schools. And even though they were meeting outside the schools, they said they couldn't do it anymore. So in my perspective, I haven't seen this, but I did teach George Bowers, and I have talked with him about this, and I don't have a problem with weekday religion. The only thing I would suggest is that we don't just have one particular religion supported. We have all religions, and that ministers in the community can all go and participate instead of just being one single thing. And I did talk to George about that, and he did say that, yes, he was open to those suggestions.
Thank you. Ms. Gloria.
Yes, I absolutely support this. And when I did speak to Mr. Bowers, I think that the challenge that we have right now is getting more kids actually attending these programs. Let me tell you, running for office is not easy, and especially when you have a lot of other things going on. The one thing that does guide me right now is just my faith in Jesus Christ and knowing that we are in an ultimate battle between evil and good in this earth. And we also know that a lot of these problems started happening when we started taking God out of our schools and out of our children's life. And I know that a lot of kids do not know Jesus Christ, and I know a lot of them are floundering and getting lost in life because they don't have that. They don't have that to guide them. They don't have that to help help them cope with what life is. So absolutely, I do support this, and I really hope that we can find a way to actually grow it and have more kids who may otherwise not even know about this. Maybe their parents haven't talked to them about this. I think he was the one who told me that one time his wife was actually teaching a kid, and I hope it was him, and he said that one of the little girls kind of said, well, the one thing I don't understand about the churches is, what is the plus sign on top of them? That's a problem when we have kids who don't even know what a cross is and who Jesus Christ is. So I really hope that we can actually work this and actually grow it more. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Joy?
Can I say,
Yes.
yeah, our communities were founded on religion, and our churches have been a foundation for that. And we have gotten away from churches. If you've looked at many of the churches, the population of the churches has decreased. And so our community needs to return to religion and what the churches are doing. And our churches are having food pantries. They're doing all kinds of good things for the community. And we really need to support them. And parents need to take their children to church.
Thank you. Anybody else like 30 seconds? Are we good?
Prayer at the poll in the morning.
I'd like to transfer my 30 seconds to final remarks.
Now we are going to close with final remarks. Each of the candidates will get 2 minutes for their closing statement. And Mr. Mike, you drew number one on that, so you are up first.
Thank you, Mike. I want to thank you all for coming tonight. Thank you for inviting me to get up here and speak. As your school board member, I will prioritize the safety of our students and staff. I will ensure full access to the K through 12 curriculum. I will provide transparent, open communication with all of our community. I will remove politics from our classrooms. I will support traditional American values and the importance of civics education, and ensure a quality education for every child in our school division. I'll restore parental involvement, and I'll provide transparency to the community regarding curriculum and school division spending. I respectfully ask for your support and your vote on November 7th. Thank you again.
Thank you, Mr. Mike. Ms. Joy.
Educating the students of Shenandoah County is one of the most critical issues in today's society. It's not only important to teach reading, writing, and math, but teaching critical thinking skills, life skills, and social skills, as well as technological skills, are also much needed in order for students to become productive and successful citizens. The focus of the schools is to provide students with all the educational tools they need in a safe and secure environment. School administration, teachers, and support staff need the support of the community to provide for education. Politics has no place in or value in the educational system. It becomes a distraction from education, and many times politics can be misinformation. My background is science, math, and technology. Give me the data to support the hypothesis or the information you're trying to give me. Don't throw out information without the data. And this I will carry forth in the school board. And I will work with the administration, teachers, to ensure, and parents to ensure that students receive a quality education in Shenandoah County.
Thank you, Ms. Joy. Ms. Gloria.
Okay, so I think I'm just going to recap a little bit of what I think we should be doing here in Shenandoah County, and certainly what I would like to do if you give me the honor of representing you on the board. One of the things that I want to do is I do want to work with teachers and even the students. We need to talk to the students and see what it is that they need more of in their schools to make them better, but definitely involve the parents and the community a lot more. We have to make our schools safe. Right now, if a school is not safe, it's not conducive to either teaching or learning. So we have to make sure that kids want to go to school. I remember when I was a kid, I actually love going to school. That was kind of my safe place in many ways. So we have to make sure that that's also for the kids. We do need more stringent academic standards, and by that I mean we need to teach what we all learned. When math is math, reading, the writing, science. The one that we learn, not what they're trying to say, that there's more than 2 genders or that man is the one causing climate change. We need to actually make sure that the kids are learning the subjects that we learned as well. I also want to make sure that we deal with the COVID lag and the absenteeism in the schools. For that, I want to see what Governor Youngkin, who recently announced the all-in Virginia plan to address this. I want to see what it means and what it says. I also forgot to mention that I do also support Governor Youngkin's model policies with regard to the gender and in the schools and in our sports and our bathrooms. And all of this at the same time, making sure that we're accountable to the citizens of Shenandoah County. They're the taxpayers, and we have, as school board members, we're stewards of that money. So we have to make sure that the spending, they're accountable to what the taxpayers are actually spending. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Gloria. Mr. Tom?
All right, am I allowed to stand?
You can if you want.
All right, here's what it comes down to in a nutshell why I'm running for school board, okay? And I gotta be quick, sorry. I'm on a time limit here. All right, I grew up in Shenandoah County. This is my take. I grew up in Shenandoah County. Shenandoah County Public Schools was great to me. I cannot emphasize that much. In the classroom, the sports, the music, I had great opportunities. I grew up in a family that was involved in the school system, like I said earlier, ever since middle school, and the big projects, the music, I saw my parents involved with many other parents, and that's why we need to get parents involved. They built a music building. They built a weight room. They provided a van for transportation for cheerleaders, okay? So that's where I come from. I have an invested interest. I have a child in the school system, okay? So back to the school parent for the parents, all right? But it has to be, your involvement has to be from the heart. It has to be from the heart, your views, and how you view everything, okay? And sometimes we make things too complicated. Sometimes we need to go back to the basics, okay? I understand the future. I understand education never plateaus, but math is math, English is English sometimes, okay? In a nutshell, analogy that I want to put out there, all right? Okay, the way I see it, as far as an example I give to you, the school board, all right, Dr. Shepard is the admiral of the ship, okay? She doesn't need a school board to tell her how to run the ship. She knows how to run the ship. Mike Dorman knows how to run a school, all right, as a principal. Dave Sherwood knows how to teach. Jeff Berner knows how to coach, okay? So I see the school board as a Pentagon. We need to work with the administration to keep the mission, to go over the mission, and to keep the ship on course, and to provide the resources that Dr. Shepard and her administrators, her teachers, her coaches need to perform. So that's the way I see it as far as the school board being the Pentagon and Dr. Shepard being the admiral of the ship. We need to work together. We need to build each other up, not beat each other up.
Right.
He's going to hit you.
Thank you all, and thanks for closing remarks. Let's get a big round of applause. They've done really, really well. I want to thank again our partners, Farm Bureau of Shenandoah County, Alliance for the Shenandoah Valley, and Shenandoah County Chamber of Commerce. Without this, we wouldn't have had it. But a big special, deep thank you to Central High School. Hank Zimmerman, you're just awesome. You do this stuff, and you do a wonderful job. Rich, wherever you wandered off to as well. I mean, without them, we wouldn't have this video tonight. We wouldn't have all this. So a huge, huge round of applause for those. And all the volunteers. We have multiple volunteers here that help put this thing together. It takes a group. It really does. It's a lot to it. It's a lot of work. And all of them do it out of the kindness of their hearts. So a huge thank you to them as well. And we wouldn't have had this if we didn't have people coming and submitting questions. So thank you all. Thank you all for cooperating. Thank you all for being a part. Thank you for being here to give those questions so they can answer them. So a huge round of applause to you all. And don't forget to vote.